Coming up on Look Today, well, CDTA and CDPHP, along with the City of Saratoga Springs, celebrate the first successful season of its bike sharing program. I've got details. Plus, we talked to Bob Reed. He's an ex-NFL player about a very controversial issue regarding social injustice. More on that coming up. And an anti-smoking group seeks to raise the legal age of purchasing tobacco to 21 years old. I've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson. This is Look Today. On tonight's program, we present two sides of a very important issue. I sit down with Richard Sellers and Joe Dalton. Now they're members of a group called Success, and they are opposed to changing the form of government in Saratoga. However, I also sit down with Jeff Altamari and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of the City Charter Review Commission, and they're here to discuss the fiscal report the Commission recently released. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, CDTA and CDPHP, in cooperation with the City of Saratoga Springs, celebrated the first season of their new bike sharing program. Well, today marked 2 months since the launch of the program, and it's been a huge success. The bike sharing program is one of the first big steps to Saratoga Springs Downtown Connector Initiative. Well, we were there and we spoke to Supervisor of Saratoga County, Peter Martin, about the success of the first season.
We're looking to get over the entire Capital District 2,000 members over the course of the first year. We're at that point already after just a few months into this program. So this is great. It's going to help increase tourism in Saratoga Springs, and it's going to help even our residents have alternative ways to get into town and around town. So it's a win-win.
We also spoke to David Stackrow. Now he's board chair, CDTA, about plans of increasing the size of the program next summer.
Next summer, we'll actually be doubling the size of the program to accommodate the requests for where the municipalities are looking for and where people in those municipalities are looking for the ability to rent bikes. So yes, I think the mayor's own comment, she's in a competition with the City of Albany to lead the way on the number of rentals and rides for bike sharing.
Congratulations on a great program. In other news, well, here's a story that pertains to national news, but it affects every community in our country, including our very own. Now, after professional NFL players took a knee during the national anthem, they were criticized by some for protesting and disrespecting the American flag. Now, but according to the football players, they're protesting what they perceive, and many perceive, as social injustice. Well, we spoke to a member of our community who also happens to be an ex-NFL player. Many of you know him. His name is Bob Reed. He played for the Minnesota Vikings. And we spoke to him about what the flag should represent to everyone.
The NFL has always been, as all the NBA, the baseball, we've been a social, recreational kind of thing to our public because that's part of what we do here in America. You know, is to play the best of the best play to be entertained. We've never used the flag for any particular platform except for the last year or two. There's been some social injustice that somebody should say something, and we're trying to say it. The flag represents all of everything that anybody does. So we should be coming together to see how we can fix those type of things.
And actually, Bob had a lot to say about this, and I'll have a comment at the end of the program tonight in the Lookout. Switching from news to weather, guess what? Fall weather's starting to creep in. Temperatures decreased to the 60s, but it did feel good out there, didn't it? Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Sponsor with your first look weather update here on Look TV. Currently, high pressure in control for much of the Midwest and Central Plains, and that's going to make a good effect into towards the Northeast as well. Cold front making its way through the area, and that's going to be some tranquil weather as well as some more autumn-like weather. Temperatures across the region generally in the 30s and 40s. along the coast in the lower 50s. We'll see temperatures across the Capital District mainly upper 30s to lower 40s, so the jackets will be necessary for the overnight hours. 42 in Fort Edward, 41 in Glens Falls. Could see temperatures near freezing towards Johnsburg and Pottersville of an elevation. Mostly clear skies with that north breeze at about 10 miles per hour. Sunshine high of 63 with that slight north breeze. And if you're going to be out the door, sunshine, but a cool start. 40s expected, 43 to 47 range through the 8 a.m. hour. And the extended forecast will continue to see more sunshine on Friday. Slight chance of showers on Saturday at 20% coverage. Otherwise mostly sunny. 61 the afternoon high. A chilly low of 37 degrees Sunday morning, but 67 the afternoon high with winds out of the east. We'll continue to see sunny skies and highs in the lower to mid 70s by Monday and Tuesday after lows in the lower to mid 40s. That was your first look weather update. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser. Now I send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Clarence. What a difference a day makes. All right, back to the news. Here's an interesting story. An anti-smoking group in Glens Falls is seeking to raise the legal age for purchasing tobacco products to 21 years old. The group is called Healthy Adirondack, and they presented their agenda to the Glens Falls Common Council on Tuesday. Now, according to the Adirondack Health Institute, the North Country has a higher rate of smoking than the state average. Now, also according to the Institute, tobacco is the largest cause of death that could be preventable in the United States. Now, we're going to have more on this when we speak to Tom Talon. He's a Population Health Improvement Manager for the Institute. Up next, I sit down with Richard Sellers and Joe Dalton. Now, they're members of a group called Success, and they're here to talk about the Saratoga Springs Charter Review process and the recent fiscal report. That was also recently released. Now, this is part 2 of my interview with them. And I also sit down separately with Jeff Altamari and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of that Saratoga City Charter Review Commission, and they're here to talk about that same fiscal report that the commission recently released. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, now it's time for Your Look. This is a segment where we talk about comments that people give us about an assortment of topics. Obviously, the hot topic is this Charter Review Commission in Saratoga. And Tony in Ballston Spa was commenting on the Success interview. And he said a lot of things that I've been saying, but I get pounded for it. I wonder why, Tony. Careful there. Success responded, by the way, and said, send them to looktvonline.com to see the interview with Commissioners Frank and Madigan. Now, then people will believe you. So as you can tell, it's a really hot topic. So continue telling us what you think about that. But I also have one other one. A lot of comments about, a lot of feelings, a lot of opinions about social injustice and athletes kneeling for the national anthem. We'd love to know what you think about that. We're starting to get some comments, and let's open this up for a dialogue, okay? And you can do that by going to our Facebook account. And that's it for Your Look. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. A kind of unusual look out tonight. You know, we usually don't comment on national politics, and I think I've said this many times, we really don't care if someone's Republican or Democrat. We want them to be credible representatives for us. But I want this lookout to go to Bob Reed. I met Bob Reed probably about 5 years ago. But in the last 2 years especially, I've really come to respect and like him more for the things that he's doing in our community. And that would involve the Elks Club and a lot of other charities and things right here, as I said, in our community. Well, Bob felt very strongly about this. That's why we did the story on it earlier on in the news. But I also really agree with this. I mean, kneeling, by the way, is a sign of respect. It's a sign of humility. It's not defiance. And if the players themselves are trying to tell us why they are protesting, why aren't we listening to them instead of some of these disingenuous people in Washington? Now, mind you, they really want nothing more than to distract us from focusing on their lack of leadership, substance, and achievements. Think about that. A lot of NFL players, former military, by the way, they know what they're talking about. Tonight on Look TV, it's sold. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.